So I was working with this Stripe the other day, and I mean, as we know, Stripe is quite a big thing these days. I mean, there's many other payment providers as well, but Stripe seems quite popular. So we thought we let's use Stripe. Their documentation seemed quite clear as well. Their examples were clear. They were in different languages, and they were easy to just copy paste and then have it running, right? And they had a couple other things as well that sort of was the one of the deciding factors when it came to using Stripe. So let's use Stripe for that. Um, um, so we started working with Stripe. We started to document some of the things. We put together quite a large document with all the information we needed, and we kind of got stuck at one point. So the software we were building, it was an online marketplace, and Stripe Connect clearly says they support online marketplaces. So we thought, okay, no problem. If that's what they say, then they probably very likely do support that. So we just went with that. So as we dig a bit more into the details, we sort of realize that the option that they are proposing may not work in every country. So, for example, if you want to say send the money from um, UK to um, USA, it might not work. So remember, we're speaking about Stripe Connect, trying to build a marketplace system. So, for example, if someone goes to the site, puts something for sale, and a user buys it, we can just send the money to that person who made the sale. It's quite simple, right? We can use standards account for that on Stripe. But if the user can buy multiple items that belong to different sellers, then we kind of have a problem, right? So to solve this problem, Stripe has something called separate charges and transfers. So we thought, okay, let's use that. And it looked quite clear that that Stripe would support that. Reading the documentation, looking at the examples, it all made sense until we realized that um, you can't really transfer the money between regions, so USA to UK, UK to USA. So I thought I'd read a bit more documentation, try to find some more information on Google Stack Overflow, and unfortunately, I really couldn't find much information. It feels like not too many people are using that sort of model. So I contacted Stripe, and we just went back and forth. First, I had to explain them the model. Then go into a bit more detail what I'm trying to do, what works, what doesn't work, link them back to the documentation because obviously these are support people. They really don't understand much when it comes to technical details. So I explained them, and they um, kind of said it will work as long as you create two platforms account in separate regions. So first, if you wanna do payments in USA, you gotta onboard the people of USA onto that Stripe account that you have in USA. If UK, same thing. So you start with two platform account, different country, and then you let users connect to those platform accounts. So I understood that, and that kind of makes sense. And but it had some implications as well. So, for example, you as a platform, you'd be responsible for everything. The money would go in your account, and then it would be transferred into someone to the seller's account. So we took that into account as well. So I thought, okay, nobody can answer this question. I spoke to some people as well on Twitter the other day, and they didn't have answer either. So I thought, okay, let's try ChatGPT. What's there to lose? Nothing. So I thought, Stripe, give me that. Tell me how to create a charge. Tell me how to create a charge and then transfer it to someone else. Tell me how to create uh, a link so someone can connect to my platform. And it did very well. It literally did everything very well. And I tested the example. They worked very well. So I said, okay, let me ask you one more question. A question that nobody has been able to answer, right? How do I take money from the user and distribute it among uh, different sellers in any country? So ChatGPT gave me an example, and it literally wrote everything. It wrote the function, how to do this, and then that, and it looks quite confident as well. So I, as a programmer, if you have a couple of years of experience, you can look at things and be like, okay, that looks fine, that makes sense, right? And you'll be like, okay, if that makes sense, that looks right, you'll just copy paste that and then see if that works, make some tweaks as well. So that's what I did. Now I did that. I was in my mind, I was 60-70% sure that I may have missed something in the docs, or there is something that's not documented. There is something that even its type support guys don't know about, but somehow ChatGPT does. So I look at the function ChatGPT provided and I try to execute it. And guess what happens? I get an error that that function does not exist, and you can't. Not that function does not. It says that you cannot pass that particular parameter to the API. I'm like, aha, I get it. It's not documented anywhere. Stripe guy says no, you cannot do that, but ChatGPT for some reason is saying you can. And how the hell did ChatGPT come up with that? It every single example it gave was correct. So it started from the top, and then the second function, and then the third step, whatever it had to do until it reached the charges part. This is how you can transfer charges to multiple people. You can pass multiple charge ID, um, but that's not true. You cannot do that. And I spoke to Stripe. They said no, you cannot. Look at the docs. Nothing, basically nothing agreed with ChatGPT, and obviously then the API threw the error as well. You cannot do that. So I guess in the at the end of the day, um, ChatGPT is good for a lot of things, but you gotta be careful. Do not get overconfident. If someone asks you for a solution and ChatGPT does give you a solution, do not think that um, that solution will work. A lot of times, based on your experience, based on the other projects you have done, you may be able to tell that whether it should work. But if it's unknown, you yourself have no clue. Um, then you might end up in some serious trouble. So think about that whenever you're using ChatGPT. I mean, I just kind of discovered this by accident, and I still don't have a solution. I kind of do have a solution. It's not very optimal, but whenever you're using ChatGPT, always take these things with a pinch of salt. For simple things, it's good, but when things get complicated and you're working with serious projects where each mistake can cause a lot of financial damage, then you gotta be careful. So do use ChatGPT all you want, but have that thing in your mind that at the end of the day, it can give you wrong answers. It can sometimes even create bollocks. It can come up with things that don't exist nowhere, and you'd wonder why the hell did it come with it? Even an intern wouldn't do that. An intern wouldn't do it at all. It would be like, that doesn't make any sense. I read the docs, it's nowhere, so I don't know. The intern would come to you and be like, that doesn't make sense. Can you explain me that? But ChatGPT, the code looked so clear and confident, and I was 80% certain that it might actually work, and I might have mixed something. And I'm someone who has a lot of experience writing backend applications and data-driven stuff. So be careful with ChatGPT. Use it where you can, but don't rely on it completely. Good luck.